Carlsbad. People, Purpose, and Impact. An essential podcast for those who live, work, visit, and play in Carlsbad.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Brett Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and I'm your host today. And I'm pleased to have with me Ron Ramirez. Ron is the new Dean of the College of Business Administration at Cal State San Marcos. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. I guess we can still use new. I'm almost
new.
For 4 months now.
Yeah, that's still pretty new. New.
That's pretty new.
Well, and yeah, just 4 months in. First of all, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. And from what I could see, it looks like you came to us from the University of Colorado, the Denver Business School.
That's right, the Denver campus. Most people know Boulder, but University of Colorado, Denver, in downtown Denver.
Very nice. And how long were you there?
I was there almost 20 years.
Okay, very nice. But despite that, it did seem like you're pretty much a Southern California guy. Like I saw you went to Fresno, then USC, and then Irvine.
Yeah, so born and raised in the Central Valley in Fresno. Actually, if you know that, I went to Clovis High out in that area.
Okay, yeah.
And then to Fresno State, and I did some professional work up in the Bay Area. And then, like you said, went to USC, then back to the Bay, and then back down to Irvine. And then I kept getting job offers in Denver for some reason. There's some link between Denver and LA area, and so my wife and I decided let's just go try Denver, and that was 20 years ago.
And it's a beautiful area. I have family just north of Denver in Erie, which is close to that Boulder area you mentioned, and then just, west of Denver in Dillon.
Okay.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, beautiful place. And you mentioned that you had some, I like to call it real world experience, private sector stuff. Tell us a little bit about your experience there and your journey that brought you from that to academia.
Yeah, so at Fresno State, I studied electrical engineering. I was good at math in high school, and someone suggested look into what an engineer does, and so it sounded pretty good, as much as when you're 18.
Sure, yeah.
But I stuck with it and was an electrical engineer, and then had different opportunities presented to me when I graduated, and I took position as a telecommunications analyst, I believe the title was, for the Chevron Corporation.
Okay.
Up in its headquarters campus in San Ramon, California. Worked on their computer network. So they had their own computer network across the Bay Area and out in Houston, Texas. And so I supported the Bay, including the Richmond Refinery, and decided after a couple of years there, maybe 3 years, 2.5 years, to go get an MBA. And back in those days, in the Stone Age, you would go full-time.
Yeah.
So I ended up resigning from that and going down to USC. I was interested in the business side of companies. And so I studied, I phrase it as corporate finance as part of my MBA, and then took a position at Pacific Bell, the old phone company.
Yeah.
And so, again, technology company, if you would, and I was in a management development program there where I first helped supervise the union workforce.
Okay.
Installed broadband services across Silicon Valley. And so I did that for a while, and then was lucky to get a job over in the CFO's office for about a $1.1 billion division.
Wow.
Of Pacific Bell at the time. And so I did that for a while, and that's where I worked on strategy and budgets for the company. And I thought probably I would stay there for my career. I love California. I'm born and raised here. And so, but the new AT&T came and bought us.
Yeah.
And about that time, I had a friend getting a PhD at Stanford, and I thought, I'll go get a PhD. and so...
yeah, sure. That's what everybody thinks.
Yeah, why not? So I ended up doing that at UC Irvine. Again, technology was a common theme throughout my career, and I studied management information systems was my specialty area. My area of research, and that's what I did until, again, I took that job at CU Denver.
Wow, okay. So you got some real experience out there in the world, and then were able to bring that into the classroom for your business students. You started teaching, of course.
Yeah, so you start off as an assistant professor, tenure track, and so, I taught management information systems to the MBAs there at that business school, as well as some others specialty classes that I designed based on my work in the CFO's office. where you would mix, again, technology, we called it business intelligence at the time, strategy, and then organization theory for making decisions around. I worked on the revenue side in the CFO's office, so
Yeah.
it was usually about growth decisions. And so I think the students liked that class the best because, again, it was based off the real work experience that I had and what it's like to make decisions in the corporate world.
Yeah, no, very, very practical for up and coming, aspiring business people. And that's excellent. And so how many years did you teach before? Because you eventually became, I think you said, an assistant dean in Colorado?
Yeah, so I achieved tenure, I forget when it was, 2010 or so. And then at that time, I was pretty passionate about the undergraduate program. So CU Denver originated in part as a graduate school of business. And so people would go to Boulder and they would graduate and come down to Denver and work.
Gotcha.
And then they needed a location for MBA courses.
Yeah.
Eventually, it evolved into its own business school at CU Denver. And so I wanted to promote the undergraduate program because, I was helped along the way in my undergraduate studies, and I worked in a couple programs there that helped other students. And I thought, I really like this, and we need to focus on this for the betterment of the students. And so I was asked to be the director of the undergraduate program. So that was the first start in administration. Nice. I still maintained my faculty role and still taught and did research at the time. So CU Denver is an R1 school, and so you focus on research primarily and teaching, but research is a focus. But I did that for probably 12 years. I maintained that role all the way until I became associate dean. I became department chair for a little bit, for about a year, and then associate dean. And in the associate dean role, I helped run or govern the programs. We had an undergraduate program, all the master's programs, and then we had one PhD program. I helped govern those in the dean's office, and then as well as ran a student success organization along with the assistant dean that reported to me, where we helped with student success across all the undergraduate and graduate programs.
No, that's fantastic. We are going to take a brief pause. We're talking to Ron Ramirez, the Dean of the College of Business Administration at Cal State San Marcos, and we're going to come right back and start talking about all the amazing programs we have at Cal State San Marcos. So, Ron, you've had some great experience in Denver, at the University of Colorado in Denver, and then, of course, in your work experience before getting into academia. So, my first question coming to Cal State San Marcos, what has been your biggest surprise in a positive way? I don't want any skeletons to come out right now, but in a positive, what was your biggest positive surprise that you've experienced in the 4 months since you've been here?
Yeah, so I would say there really hasn't been surprises per se. It's really learning about the organization and the system, the CSU system, and learning how to operate within that context. I think the students here at San Marcos are similar to the ones in Denver. We have a primarily first-generation population of students,
right?
A large underrepresented population of students, and it was the same in Denver. Mm-hmm. And that was part of the attraction of coming to San Marcos, because I enjoyed serving that population of students, again, with helping students go to that next step, for social and economic mobility, but I wanted to do that in my home state.
Yeah.
And so back in the CSU, I have a story of my parents on my dad's side. He went to Fresno State with a brother and a sister, and that really helped move us to another level socially and economically.
Yes.
And I'm a second generation student, I like to phrase it. And so I've seen the benefits of the CSU, and I wanted to give back in that sense to the CSU, and that's why San Marcos was such a great fit.
Oh, that's a great story, a great personal tie-in to how education can help elevate socioeconomically families. That's wonderful. So let's talk about some of the programs you guys have there. And some of our listeners might not be familiar with the amazing programs. I'm familiar with a couple of them, so I'd love to hear you share about like the executives chair and the senior experience programs and stuff like that. But tell me about some of your favorites.
Yeah, so when you asked a little bit about what are some prizes or some positive things that I've learned, and so it's really, if I might summarize the college, it's a focus on undergraduate education. It's 97% undergraduate students. We have a very large Bachelor of Science in Business Administration program.
Yeah.
What's unique about it is the hands-on learning that a student does within the program. But in addition to that, is that we have an extensive relationship with the external business community.
Yes.
We have executives and residents that come in and actually help with the curriculum itself, not just advising. Like, most colleges and schools of business have advisory councils, and executives may come in and advise what a degree plan should look like or what a program should look like. But we actually go one extra step and involve the executives in the program itself along, the student success goal. And so we have a business professional development course in which the executives come in and help prepare students to become future professionals.
Yeah.
And then we have a professional mentorship program, again, where alumni and executives work with students to help them with that next step. And then we also have a new program called Hire COBA, where a student who may need additional career coaching can take advantage of some programming there to, again, help them launch the type of career they want when they graduate.
Oh, that's excellent. I actually, this is my first semester ever being an executive in residence there. So I've been experiencing that program firsthand, and it's a very impressive program and format, how you bring in folks from the business world to do one-on-one, direct input and mentoring and, helping with these all the students that I've had a chance to interact with have been about juniors in their business education, and of course across the whole spectrum, people in marketing and administration and everything else. And it's been a wonderful experience. And when I first volunteered or was asked and said yes, it was a little daunting. They went through and kind of showed me, the system, and it was like, wow, this is intense, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been through my first round of meeting with all my students because I have about 19 or 20, and now I'm almost to that part when we're starting our second round, and it's exciting. These are great kids. Yeah,
it's really this course we're talking about and these services we talked about. It really makes our school unique.
Yeah.
Again, other schools and colleges may have mentoring programs, but with this particular business professional development, it's built into the curriculum, which means every student that studies at San Marcos in the College of Business will be able to work with an executive directly. And that's what really makes us stand out and our program unique. We get that hands-on learning for the students. As part of that class, we just talked a little bit before the podcast about etiquette dinners, for example.
Yeah.
These are, experiential learning opportunities for the students. We just had one dinner last night with about 150 students that come in.
That's
and
great.
We have an etiquette coach, and we go through about a 2 to 3 hour learning experience where we have an actual meal, and the students sit around the table with an executive and engage in networking and business discussion, personal discussion, just to get that hands-on practice, which again is unique of our program.
No, I think that's wonderful. And I was, as I mentioned when we were chatting before, I was interested in attending, but it was my daughter's birthday last night, so I couldn't make it. But maybe in coming semesters I'll be able to attend one of those. But I think that's great, and it really does, in my opinion, set your program, apart in the fact that you have so much interaction between folks actively in the business world and those who are studying to venture out that way. So kudos on that. And you mentioned that I think about 97% of your students are undergrads, but you do have an MBA program. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, we have an MBA program that's been around for some time. There's two programs. One's a fully employed MBA where a professional can come and work on studying within the program. It's designed in the way you can work full-time and continue on with the MBA
that's great.
program. And then that's a more of a general MBA, I might call it. You're going to get the foundation of learning around, what a master's of business entails. But we have a specialized MBA where you can pursue further knowledge in, let's say, supply chain management, for instance. And so it really is up to the student what they're interested in. But I've met several alums of the fully employed MBA program that studied in the 2000s and now are in the executive ranks, and they speak very highly of the program. I think it has a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of opportunity at San Marcos as well. I mean, I talked about, of course, I want to serve the students that are there, but I think on the graduate side, if you think about the education life cycle of a student across a career, education at the undergraduate level is just the first step.
Sure.
And as you go throughout your 20 to 30 year career, most of the time people need a graduate program to either enhance what they're doing or to move and change directions. And I think that's an opportunity we can take advantage of at San Marcos.
Oh, that's great. And you guys have some other, there's other programs around the periphery as well, which are great certification programs, et cetera. What is the future? What's the future for the College of Business Administration at Cal State?
Yeah, what's the future? That's a good question. That's I've only been there 4 months, but I do actually have some good ideas. These are just ideas, and certificates are certainly something that the higher education, if I call it an industry, is talking about.
Sure.
Even after you get your graduate degree in your 20s or 30s, you continue working into your 50s or so. And so, if you want to keep your knowledge updated or learn a new skill, certificates can come into play there. They can provide an indication of a level of learning, and that's why there's opportunity in the education program. But, when I think about certificates, it's almost as if that type of training is what corporate training used to be.
Yeah.
And so I think we as an industry are still trying to figure out what the solution is on the certificate side. But for individual courses and certificates for those that want it, that is an opportunity. I would say when you think about the area, the region, the workforce need, certainly I would say cybersecurity has a great future in the area. Everybody needs it, from the government to businesses.
Everybody needs it. That opportunity is huge.
Yeah, so I think that's an area that would be interesting to pursue. Whether it's certificates or a master's program, or it's an option maybe in the MBA program, we'll find that out. I'm trying to learn about the health systems here in the area, and is there an opportunity for a track in health? I had seen a little bit of a trend in Denver. There was a pretty well-known health program in the old university I was at. And it seemed as if there was a trend moving away a little bit from master's in public health to more MBA, business-focused education, but with a track in healthcare. And so
that's interesting.
I'm looking into that right now.
Yeah, very interesting. And of course, with our aging demographic, healthcare is a bustling industry. So,
for sure.
So I think, you're onto something there. Very interesting. So, when you're not at the college, and what are your hobbies? What do you love to do?
I used to play tennis when I was in Denver. I hadn't played for a while, and then someone asked if I played, so I did that for past 18 years. But
okay.
I would say in these last 4 months, what do I do? Well, I try to spend as much time as I can with my family if I'm not driving the freeways, which I've forgotten about. But actually, traffic's a little bit better now. So
okay, good. How far away are you commuting from? I'm commuting
from Orange County right now.
Okay.
Let me just say it's also a little bit tough time to try to sell a house.
And right now it is,
if anyone's moving to Denver, let me know. I've got a home for sale. But so what I do right now, I commute, spend time with family, and so, but also reconnecting to people I know in Southern California. And my family's still in Fresno, so I look forward to being able to drive up there to visit them. So I'm excited being here, and it's only been 4 months, so I'm hoping I'll pick up either tennis, but of course the new sport right now seems to be pickleball.
That's right. Yes, by my house, they converted one. I think there's like a dozen tennis courts, and they converted one to pickleball. And you'll go by and you'll see maybe 5 or 6 people on all the various tennis courts put together, and there'll be like 18 or so all jammed into this pickleball area that used to be one tennis court. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny. Well, wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you here at Cal State San Marcos. Again, our welcome to you. And we as the Chamber love partnering with Cal State. We appreciate board engagement. Miguel De Jesus is on our board, and just really appreciate him. And if there's ever anything we can do to partner and work with you, please let us know.
Yeah, you brought up senior experience, and that's certainly another component of our degree where we get hands-on experience with real-world projects. So Miguel's really out there actively finding us projects, and so if any of you out there need help with a project, we're willing to do that as well. And real quickly, you talked about the future. I just went to a conference where they talked about maybe a new type of idea around education when you're transitioning to a new career. But this is really targeted when somebody looks to retire from an existing career from 20, 25 years, and they're looking for the next thing. Oftentimes today you retire and then you do something new. Sure. And that seems to be maybe an area that could be a new opportunity in higher education. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it was a real interesting concept.
Yeah, I think that is extremely valid. And we work long, we live longer, we're working longer, and I think there is something there for that. I do want to give a personal shout out to the Senior Experience Program. We've done a few projects here over the years, including just recently concluding a project with the Senior Experience team. So if you guys out there listening to this have never engaged a Senior Experience team at Cal State San Marcos, you get 5 business students who come in and help you tackle a real world, situation that you want them to tackle. And it's fantastic work. They work with you for a whole semester on whatever it is you want them to study or to address.
Yeah, and it's really an opportunity as well as for the community to participate in the education of the students. It's really also a learning experience for the students, and so it's your chance to participate in higher ed.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you so much. I should have properly introduced you as Dr. Ron Ramirez, but
I only make my sister call me doctor.
Nice. Well, thank you, Ron, for coming down, and again, welcome to the community. We look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for joining us on our Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button on wherever you get your audio, and please tell a friend. We would love to hear your feedback, which you can share at carlsbadpodcast.com. You can leave us a review, ask a question, or leave an audio comment, which we can play on the show in the future. And that's all we have for today. Can't wait to see you next time on Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact. And remember, share some kindness today. It's free, creates goodwill, and makes you feel great.